Hello, hello. We are back again for another Wet Ink Wednesday. And this time I'm joined by Mike Mumah. And Mike's an artist, writer, comic book, I guess, writer and artist, right? Like creator, comic book
Yeah,
creator. And we've been a fan of Mike's work for a long time. So glad to have you back on my show, Mike. Welcome.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
So as I've been going through this process of like contacting people, like I did a whole spate of these interviews in 2020 because it was 2020 and what else were we going to do? And then I haven't done them since, but I'm back now to do some Wet Ink Wednesdays. And so I'm calling up people that I talked to. It's been like 2.5 years. So like,
Right.
what have you been up to in the last 2.5 years? Like what's a big thing in Mumah land?
I've just been drawing. I mean, really.
Oh, I'm shocked.
I was working on Heckin Good Doggos and that for you guys, and then I did a I did a comic book that was given away as a wedding gift, like a it was a treat or a gift for all the guests at the thing, and it was like an explanation of how the bride and groom got together, and they wanted it all done in Silver Age style, and that was kind of fun. And I did artwork for a music video, which I didn't even know was a thing anymore. And yeah, it's been great. And I've been working on my graphic novel, which I still have yet to finish. So
Yeah, so I want to definitely hear about some or all of those things over
yeah.
the next 20 to 30 minutes here. So let's start at the beginning of the list and talk about Heckin' Good Doggos because yeah, you did a lot of art for that. So I think you were I mean, you're kind of at the stage of like working together where like you don't really have to like pitch us things because we know your work, we
Yeah.
know it's so, but like as soon as you heard about the Heckin' Good Doggos project, you were sending us dog pictures that you were just cranking out. And so it was like, oh, he's passed the audition, right? So
Yeah.
like what makes you so excited to draw dogs?
Well, I don't know what it is. Um, like I've been a dog lover since I was a kid. I've had dogs my whole life, except for the past 10 years, but because mostly I'm just like really sad because my last dog died, and it's
Mm,
still raw. But I can't remember how many years ago it was, but it was like at least 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Brandon, my good buddy Brandon,
uh-huh,
just
uh-huh.
says to me as an aside, "Hey, I got a job, like a gig for you. We're gonna do like a role playing game all about dogs. It's gonna be just dogs, and you're it." I'm like, going, "Cool." And he said, "Okay." And I asked, "When's it gonna happen?" He said, very soon." So over the course of the next 3-4 years,
It took a while. It took
every
a
month
while.
I'd say, "So where the doggo job?" And like what one of the great things what I love about like working with you guys, because I know I've known you guys for so long. I will give you
Yeah.
such crap.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I can say everything I ever wanted to a publisher, and I'm not to be taken seriously. So you know that's a lot of fun. But as far as like loving dogs and like drawing pets and stuff like that, it's just something I've always been good at. I think we talked about it a bit at the last time we talked. It was like I grew up like inspired by Looney Tunes
Mm.
and like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and therefore like drawing animals like yeah, because we were talking about wild skills last time, like drawing animals as humans, you know, or human like animals. That's great. And this time I'm just drawing dogs as dogs. And so yeah, it's just cartoony and it's fun, and I just love it.
Yeah, and there was talk like I mean, we'll talk about some of the specifics. Like, I mean, we wanted the game to be colorful, we wanted it to be friendly, we wanted all the dogs to be I mean, we wanted the vibe to be sort of so bright and colorful and like I mean, you've drawn a lot of like zombies and like
Which I love.
oh sure, sure.
Yeah.
But you've worked in a lot of things that are not exactly, I mean, you're not exactly known as like a children's book author, is what I'm
Yeah,
trying to say, right? So
yeah.
like, is it, I mean, but also you've literally drawn everything. I mean, I've seen fishmen, I've seen like dragons, I've seen robots, I've seen rabbits, I've seen paintings of children. Like you have done so many different things. So was it a breath of fresh air to finally be like, all right, so no, I these are my parameters, right? It's going to be colorful, it's going to be dogs, it's going to be, and one of the other things I asked for is like we didn't want a lot of humans in the pictures, so it's
Yeah.
really, really focused on the dogs. So was that sort of like, yes, finally, or was it sort of like, because you've got so much experience, is it just like, it's just another job, it's just dogs this time, like what is?
I don't know if there was any like one particular thing. I just like stories from unique perspectives. Like I can shift the focus, like going, yeah, like these are pets that live with humans. They are actually pets for humans, but the focus is the animal. Like, like my freshman year in college, like 1995, back in the
Wow.
old days, in the
Yeah.
before times, in the long, long ago. Um,
What are you
we
talking about?
I
1995 was just 5 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I was an English major, which when people would ask me, like, what are you gonna do with an English degree? I'm like, I'm gonna be an artist, what else are you gonna do? As if that made sense to them. And but like I'm sitting in my English class, and I think it was our first paper or something like that. My teacher was already annoyed with me because I'm sitting in the back of the class reading a novel that was clearly not what she was supposed to be doing, but I'd answer every question that on her lecture that she would probe me on. And then I wrote an article, or I wrote a paper based, it's just like a journal entry or what, something that we had to do. And it was like something about a pet or a cat or like from their perspective. And I wrote this like a 2-page short story about a cat, told in the first person, about a cat being bothered that the human is in his space.
As cats
And
do.
yeah, and then all of a sudden my teacher's in love with me, and then not literally in love with me, but love with my work,
Sure.
and then suddenly my paper is published in a quarterly printing for the university. It was very bizarre. And yeah. And so it's just like I just like the unique perspectives and so like that. So like anything that doesn't do things normally, I'm for. I just want to see like you're just picturing the uniqueness of somebody else's perspective. I guess that's about it.
No, that's great. I I do want to ask you also about the cover of the book specifically, because there was a lot of like, I don't know if Brandon gave you any art direction on the cover,
No, I don't
but
think he gave me much for art direction other than I want this kind of scene. Go.
yeah, I mean, that was definitely like, we need a rural scene, we need an urban scene, we need like,
Yeah,
somebody talking to squirrels, whatever. We
yeah.
did, that was the art direction, but I don't remember that there was any at all for the cover. So how did you arrive at the notion that like this is the cover with all of those dogs coming right at the audience, like, or the viewer? Like, how did you uh
I honestly don't remember my thought process on it. I think what I was thinking of was like, what is the game about? It's about
mm,
dogs. Well, what kind of dogs? Well, there's a lot of kind of dogs.
a lot of kind of dogs.
And so like I just love the idea of them just running at the camera, like all sorts of dogs, and like I hid people's dogs, I hid Brandon's dogs, I hid my dog, I hid a couple other people's dogs, and a lot of just like I just showed the wide variety of dogs and their sizes, to the audience, and I just love that.
I don't know if Brandon told you this story. He probably did, but like, we made, for promotional purposes, we made the cover into a scroll banner for our booth. And the first con that Doggos has been at was PAX Unplugged last December. and Brandon was setting up the wedding games booth, and he took that banner and rolled it up, and like suddenly here's this wall of dogs. And he said other people who were setting up their booths stopped and came over to ask, what is this, what have you just revealed? And so I don't know if you heard that story before, but
I did not.
that is the power of that image of like you have achieved a cover that literally brings the people in, with that scene of all the dogs coming forward. So
Awesome.
yeah, it's quite a look, quite a great thing. And I guess so. Ostensibly, this is going to be coming out in June. We've got a free RPG day supplement coming out, a new adventure for Heckin Good Doggos, and a quick start rule set, and pre-gen characters, and it's got a new cover by Mike Mumah, and because we've got a cover for each one. Like there's all the dog art in the original, and then there's so many things I could ask you about, a bunch of other stuff, but I would ask you about favorite piece, but I asked that in a minute. But I'm setting up the thing, so like I gave you some more. We talked about art direction, so I gave you some more specific art direction for this cover for the what ended up the adventure being called Someone's Last Day at the Track, and I referenced a particular 80s movie from probably from both of our childhoods, from mine at least. I assume it's from the age of yours at least, and it might actually be a 90s movie. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But then I was like, okay, but obviously it has to be changed for like legal reasons, but like keep the color scheme, and you mentioned Looney Tunes before, and I was like, and if one of the dogs looks like that sheepdog from the Wile E. Coyote cartoons, I won't
Yeah,
be
yeah,
mad. And then like when you drew it and I saw it, and I was like, oh, it's there. It's so good. It looks,
yeah.
it's like, if you may not, if you don't know those cartoons, you may not recognize it, but there it is. So I'm glad you mentioned Looney Tunes. But was there anything you want to say about that particular cover or that particular piece for the racetrack one?
That might be my favorite piece, but it's just like it's hard for me to look back at old stuff and then like
Mm,
like fondly, because I never look at my old work fondly. Like, um,
it's
actually, just
you have to wait till a little longer, and then you can look back on it and be like, it's not that
no, no, I'll never do that. See
bad.
that, like, okay. So last week, a friend of my mom's, a friend from my youth, who I haven't seen probably in 30 years, she wanted to get in touch with me because she found an old drawing I had done. I was trying to say, no, no, don't show it to me. And the next thing I know, she texted it to me. And I couldn't have been older than 12, 13, maybe 15 at this point.
Ooh, okay.
And
So real back in the day.
real, and like I was surprised it was in color. And like with colored pencils, like of two dinosaurs fighting like a T-Rex, and like I can only
It
guess was
sounds awesome.
like a, or no, a triceratops and a T-Rex, but like the
Yeah.
T-Rex has no, yeah, it doesn't look like a T-Rex at all. It looks terrible.
Were you about to say the T-Rex has no arms? Because that's kind of like one of their things.
No, 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 no forehead.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Okay.
and like they don't have
They
any brains, but like yeah, it's very flat. I don't know. It just doesn't look right.
it's by a 12-year-old, you know?
Yeah, it
Is it is it promising? Is that the
sure, sure. And like what I didn't want her to say to me is like, "Oh, you're so talented." She said that,
mm,
and then to go, and then she wanted to send it to me so she can have me sign it, which I'm flattered. I really, really am. Honestly, I'm flattered whenever anyone does that and like they hold on to my artwork, like going, "You're gonna be rich and famous someday." I'm like going, "You clearly don't know what an artist is. We don't like money. I mean, we like money, but you know,
it's sometimes a challenge.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, but that's amazing. Like, so you're gonna get like this padded envelope or in the mail of like a piece that you
yeah,
did 30
yeah."
years
And then I gotta,
ago, and you're gonna
yeah,
sign it and send it back. That's
yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, I love it and I hate it at the same time. It's just like I wanted to like it was in the process of like actually texting her like, okay, but be sure to like mail it so that I can only see the spot I'm going to sign, and that's it. Otherwise, I'm
oh,
going to stare at it going, what was I thinking? Was I
so
even thinking?
after you get it, you should
Yeah.
redraw it and then
Oh, I
post it.
probably will. I
You
probably
should,
will.
and then
Yeah.
get that out there on the social medias,
Yeah.
the hashtag improving,
Yeah.
that's that's your 10,000 hours at work, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. So you said that you kind of already answered the question with the doggos piece, saying that it's the racetrack one is one of your
Yeah.
favorites, but you got to draw some pretty wild stuff for the core book. So I don't want to let those illustrations go if you want to say anything about those illustrations that are in the doggos core book, because there were
Um,
the different ways to play the game, right? The different settings and stuff like that invited you to draw some more extreme doggos than you might otherwise have drawn.
I honestly can't remember my work on any of them. Like, because
Well, I
like,
won't show it to you.
well, no, that's it's okay because I've seen it recently. But like the second a drawing is done, like I
Mm,
move on to the next one.
all
That's
right.
pretty much a thing. And, like I have to keep it open, like on my computer, just say like, hey, this is the previous thing you did if it's related, and just kind of look at it occasionally, something like that. But and I grouped the one I did for the racetrack with the rest of the book because I pretty much did them all at the same time.
Yeah, it was pretty
Like
rapid succession.
yeah, so yeah, as far as like in the inside of the book, the only thing I can remember was one like it occasionally add in people's who I know their pets. Of course, there was a whole spate with the cards where
Hmm.
I drew everyone's pets.
A lot of
Um,
dogs.
yeah, a lot of dogs.
I
Uh,
foolishly thought there wouldn't be 52 people who wanted their dog immortalized on a card. I was a
oh,
fool. I was a
I
fool.
I I knew you were a fool. Like oh no no, I will do a second deck if you want me to
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah. We we could probably have done a second deck for sure.
yeah, probably.
Um, maybe
Um,
maybe that'll be a feature someday.
and one of my friends from high school, her dog, like at the time, had gone missing, like ran
Mm,
away or like was stolen, something like that. She got the dog back, so it was
okay.
a happy story. Um, but yeah,
All right. So you mentioned not already having you forget your work as soon as it's done, you move on to the next thing. So let's talk about some next things for you, Mike. What has you mentioned this wedding comic, and is it, I think I remember seeing some shots from it as you were working on it. So like how does a commission like that come about where somebody's just like they know is this a did they know you, or did they like know you from your work and then wanted to commission you for it?
they knew me. It was
Okay.
actually a friend of my ex-wife's um, from high school. We had only met once while my ex-wife and I were together, and he remembered me. He just contacted me and like he said he was getting married. He is a big comic book fan, like he's specifically a DC Comics Silver Age kind of guy.
Yeah.
And
I
he
mean, that's
wants to
a
do
specific taste.
yeah, and he wrote this entire script. I kind of rewrote it a little bit because you know he'd never written a comic before, and I just kind of had to tweak it a little bit. And I'm like, going, I don't want to draw all this crap, especially when it's superfluous. But this, let's get it the flow
Sure,
better.
sure.
And then, yeah, I just drew it, and like, oh, since he wrote the script, and like he just saw the pages, and he just loved it. And now I'm already at the point where I can't really look at this book because again, it's past work. I'm like, yeah.
So is it like a I mean, I guess, if it's a secret, I guess I can't know, but
No,
like
it's
it's
not a
not a Secret
secret.
Wars thing, but like it's like is it like a Justice League kind of thing where like the team has to unite and so that's the wedding, or is it like not at all related? It does not depict a wedding and
No,
them as avatars, and the two
no,
of them
it
have to come together to
establishes it.
defeat the what I mean, dark side, like there's a dark side analog that is defeated, and then they all toast at the cake. I mean, is it a thing like that, or
Well,
like
no,
what?
it was this kind of interesting thing where he establishes her as a superhero and him as a superhero, but they also live in the same real world. And like it goes through actual events in their life that they actually
Mm,
went to. places they met, but they meet as superheroes. Like his name is Andrew, and so he made his character Superman Drew,
Superman Drew.
and then
Okay,
she was like, yeah,
that's a golden age quality name, but
oh yeah, oh
we'll let
yeah.
it pass. We'll let it pass for
And then
Silver
I
Age.
forgot what her name was, and she was basically a female superhero from that age too, look kind of like Star Sapphire. She was a villain, but that was the kind of thing. And so she's got three teenage kids, or two two children that were like in their 20s, and show how they met, and they had a Fantastic Four outfit going on,
Nice,
and so
nice.
like while they are getting together at this, or like realize that they're in love with each other very early on, then all of a sudden this giant purple gorilla thing comes from outer space and like crashes through a comic book convention, and they're trying to suck out teenage minds. It's ridiculous, and I
That
love that. Yeah,
that sounds very Silver Age. So
yeah. It's
that
very similar.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Well, that's cool. Like, I mean, like, is that the kind of? I mean, I'm sure I know you've done all kinds of stuff. I know you illustrated there was a
That is
storybook you
actually
illustrated with the butterflies, and you've done
yeah.
a lot of really interesting one-off kind of projects,
That is actually the first comic I've ever done.
like
You
start
know,
to finish done.
yeah. It's like what I'm working on now presently, and I
How
know
many
you haven't
pages
had
was it before uh, the one you finished? How many pages was it? Like, you know,
I think I can't remember what he actually had it at, but we pared it down to 20,
okay,
roughly
so
20. So this
like basically a full-size comic. Yeah.
yeah, full size comic. And then we threw in some occasional they looked like ads from a
Mm,
Silver Age comic. And so like there were the exploding cigars, like the whole
what
thing.
a
And
what an amazing favor to receive if you went to that wedding. That sounds
yeah,
incredible.
yeah, I thought it was incredible. And
So
so
yeah, you were starting to talk about like
oh
that's the
actually
first that's your first like
yeah. See,
I
this is the
finished
comic
it
right here.
start to end. There you go.
Yeah, that's what
A
it looked
wedding
like.
issue.
Yeah. And I didn't have that out just because we were having the interview. It just kind of happened to be there, and I just not realize it.
Yeah. So you were about to tell me about you mentioned a graphic novel. Is it was you were going to
Well,
transition into that? So like is that
yeah,
the one with the dragon that I've seen some
yeah,
shots
that
of?
is the dragon.
Okay. I
Um,
mean, I know there's other things going on, but I remember it as the one that has the dragon in it.
yeah, this is the first time I've ever actually put out personally do artwork for something that I've written.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't write a lot. Which is a shame because again, I was an English major. Uh, but yeah, it starts off with like this guy looking at the burning remains of the people he was traveling with, and he's looked terrified. He's beaten up. He's covered in blood. There's smoke all around him. There's treasure everywhere. There's blue flames everywhere. And then he said, if there's one thing I've learned about this week, it's this." And then the next page, he's looking up at a very, very giant, very angry and pissed off dragon, breathing like fire in its mouth and just glaring at him. Fire all around, smoking boots and all this stuff. And it's like, if there's one thing I've learned about, I've learned from this week is this: dragons don't respond well to sarcasm, and that's how the whole story starts.
That
And
that sounds like an extremely Mike Muma opening for a comic.
yeah, and honestly, it's about you know him not realizing like that he is his own worst enemy. Like he
Mm.
causes all of his own problems, and he's a protagonist and antagonist. He's got his ex-girlfriend really mad at him. She's trying to kill him. She's a witch, like a really powerful witch. And you don't know why she's trying to kill him, but she is. And then also he has to go because he's got this employer, and he's in a house, and the first thing a safe tries to fall on top of him while he's sleeping, and he's got a note from his ex explaining why she's like really mad at him. But like
Uh,
he doesn't put two together as to why she's mad. So
this this sounds like I mean I've seen some of the pages. I don't think I've seen them in color yet. But I mean there's a I mean, I love to talk about to artists about their influences. Like there's a non-zero, like the safe is what really does it for me. There's a non-zero amount of Bill Watterson in what you're describing to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sure that's not a that's
See,
not a
I thought
slight
you
by
were
any
going to
means.
go with Looney Tunes and Tex Avery and Chuck
Well,
Jones and all
sure,
that stuff.
yeah, that's right up there too. But like, there's definitely like in the comic pages form,
Right, right.
definitely Bill Watterson was putting safes in the Calvin stuff, not infrequently.
Yeah, like because I love all of those things, and also another thing about the game, it's like one thing that's always like bothered me about like the fantasy genre, for example, is that like it's always stuck in the same time era. Like what
Mm,
happens if like you take the D&D era and you take it out of the dark ages and put it into like, hey, magicians have learned how to commerce.
sure,
Like, yeah, yeah. And so like you don't have electricity, you have magic powering everything. You don't have
yeah,
telephones, you have computers powered by magic, and like you just have all these things. And it all comes from like me loving Terry Pratchett and like
yeah.
all sorts of things. So yeah, I'm pulling from a
There's Barb
billion.
Barbara Hamley. Do you know her work? The
No.
Silicon Mage. What's the? I can't remember the name of the all. It's yeah, the Silent Tower, the Silicon Mage, and the Dog Wizard are the three books in that trilogy. It's pretty good stuff. But it deals with some of that magic technology stuff too.
Oh, right
Um,
on.
yeah. Um, so I have to ask, like, when can people back your graphic novel on like Zoop or something like that? Like, is that
Well,
a thing for the future or the near future or the long future? What's
until like 2 3 days ago, I thought I was completely done drawing it. I was in the process of lettering it. Then I
Mhm.
realized that I had probably, because like I've drawn most of them digitally. And I realized in the first issue I had like clearly either mislabeled or something happened. I didn't have a page. I remember drawing the page. I don't know if I cared for the artwork because as we established, I'm looking at stuff I drew like 3 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I had to redraw a page. So like I redrew the page, I'm like going, all right, I'm relatively satisfied with that. And then I realized, oh wait, there's 2 more panels that I need to put on that first page. I'm not redrawing it, so I'm adding another page to the thing. So yeah, hopefully relatively soon I'll have something to show people. I'm gonna start shopping it around. And then if not, then I'll start running a Kickstarter. So I'll have more
Yeah.
stuff to,
Well, yeah. I
yeah.
mean, try shop it around first. Why not?
Yeah,
Get it
yeah,
get it
absolutely.
on Dark Horse or Image or those things.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm There's other comic companies too. Is
There
Malibu
are
still
there
around?
I don't
I
know.
don't think so. I think they existed for like a year. Um
Wow.
anyway, I don't know. Well, I wish you all great luck with that, and
Thank
I
you
will
very much.
definitely be a supporter or a backer or a sharer or something like that when the time comes because
Well, there's one.
you've got a network of fans. You'll it'll be all right. You'll be all right.
At least 5 people know who I am.
At least five people know who you are.
Yeah.
Well, if people who are watching this video don't know who you are and want to find out more, or they've just learned about you, because now if they watch the video, they know who you are. Where can they find more about you on the internet? Where do you live online?
I am Mumah on Instagram. I am the Art of Mike Mumah on Facebook, or Mikey Danger Mumah on Facebook, or artofmikemumah.com. And I think you can even find me on DeviantArt.
I think I have followed you there, but I never hardly ever go to DeviantArt. So
I never do either. Like like in the past few years, I'm like going, why am I going here? All right, fine, habit.
yeah. All right. Well, Mike, it's been great to talk to you today. Great to have you on the show to hear about your work. Thank you for being a stable contributor to the Wedding Games project, and we hope to work with you again in the future. Oh,
Thank you, thank you.
I ask. I had it written down, but I almost forgot. Before we get out of here, I want to ask, like, if we did a cats one, would you want to
Oh
draw
God, yes.
cats as much as
I've
we
been
like draw
I've
dogs?
been talking about that since we were drawing doggos. I'm like going, I didn't want to do heckin' evil cats. Like I've been all about that. I'm like going, I'm so into that.
All right. Well, if that ever
And
happens,
also Wild Skies. I want to do Wild Skies again.
we got other people that are like stirring
I
the
don't
pot
care
with
about other
that.
people. I
So
want to do that.
no, I'm saying the momentum is building.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
keep the flame alive. Maybe
Okay.
a
Brandon,
more wild
Wild
skies coming.
Skies.
Look, it's it's the same thing for artists as it is for game designers. You look at your
Yeah.
older work and you're like, this can stay in the drawer. This can stay in the
Yeah.
drawer. So
All my drawings from the previous Wild Skies, they can be burned. However, I got new stuff I want to put out there.
new stuff.
Then that
All right.
later on that on, I'll be pissed off and want to burn those
Well,
too.
when these projects come to fruition, we will get in contact with you.
Rock on.
Mike, thanks so much for talking to me today, and have a great day.
See ya.